Please be seated. Good morning to you. I'm glad you're here. I have to say, Peter's calling story is one of my favorites in all of Scripture. We hear different calling stories in each of our readings today. And it reminds me of being in seminary, which was now over 20 years ago. And the amazing people that I had as friends and peers. And watching their joy and their exuberance, their quirkiness, as we learned and grew together. Some of them, when they were ordained, thought that they had to change that they had to stop being quirky, that they had to stop being exuberant and joyful. And it was sad for me. We hear in our readings this morning God's call to Isaiah, a man of unclean lips, from a people of unclean lips. And he doesn't say, change who you are and go back to your people. He sends a seraph to touch his lips with a coal and says, you're clean. Now let me ask again, whom shall I send? And who better than the man of unclean lips from the people of unclean lips to send back to those people with God's words? We hear of Paul talking about his calling. Paul was a zealot who was zealous for persecuting the church of God. God didn't call him to stop being a zealot. He didn't call him to stop being passionate about what he was doing. He just called him to use it in a different way. When Peter fell down on his knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man," Jesus didn't say, well, then stop being a sinful man, because you're called anyway. He said, do not be afraid. From now on, you'll be fishing, just fishing for a different thing, for people. God doesn't call us to be someone other than we are. God doesn't call us to stop being quirky or to stop being joyful or exuberant. God doesn't call us away from our joy and our passions. God calls us precisely because of who we are, because of those gifts that make us unique, because of those gifts that make us the perfect one to be called. Each of us is called. We're not each called to be clergy. We're not each called to be prophets. Thanks be to God. We're not each called to be any one thing. What we are called to is to bring our faith to bear on those things that bring us joy. In those places where we find our passions, where we find our most true selves, being able to enrich all that we are called to in our lives. Each of us is blessed and unique. We've been hearing the past few weeks about how each of us has different gifts and how each is important and how each is needed. And that is so true. When we take up that call, we're not called to put away those gifts, but we're called to live them, to put them into work as we fulfill that calling from God. If our joy is music, if our joy is arguing, if our joy and our passion is teaching, or whatever it is, as we are called to bring those gifts to bear on our lives and our relationships and our world. We are each of us different. We each have different loves. We each have different ways of living in the world. And when the world is a scary place, we sometimes feel like we have to put away parts of ourselves in order to live in our world. And I think in times like that, we're called to live even more loudly, to let those gifts shine. God is with us as we live out our gifts, sometimes in fear, as we live out our gifts courageously, to let others around us know that there is hope, there is joy, there is passion, and there is still life going on every day around us. In this sacred and blessed world, we are surrounded by people who are blessed with those gifts. Some have just forgotten how to use them. May we be encouraged this week to awaken those gifts in ourselves that we have put away, to allow them to shine brightly, to cast off the darkness that may surround us and refill us with life and joy, with passion, exuberance, and quirkiness. The people that matter will thank us, and those that don't may just be inspired to find themselves again. May this week be a blessing as we re-examine those gifts and those callings that sometimes are scary, but always are so life-affirming. May we live into them, revel in them, and share them. Amen.